Hi, I'm Hannah from Healing with Hannah. If you've made it this far, you're on step 4 of my 4 steps of Healing with Hannah. And if you have not watched the first 4 videos, the first one is, I will link them all below. The first one is Introduction to Healing with Hannah. And then the others are my first 3 steps. So this is step 4. If you've made it this far, thank you for staying along. This is the hardest step by far, but the one that transformed my life. I don't want to say the most, but it really did transform my life. And this is feeling is healing. What you feel heals, and what you reveal heals. How do we feel and heal? I'm going to go into a lot of depth in this video because I want you to really understand. Because when you know what you're doing and why you're doing it, the how gets easier. So you don't ever think you're just suffering in vain or for no reason. I don't ever just have my clients feel things and cry because we created them. These are all traumas that we push down somewhere in our life. So whether it was, generational and through our lineage or in the first 8 years of our life. So there's 4 brain waves. I'm going to get into the brain waves real quick. Beta brainwaves, which is what I'm in right now, awake, alert, oriented, tuned in, tapped in, talking. And then there's alpha brainwaves, which is when you're more zenned out. Let's say you lay down at night, you're about to watch Netflix and chill, and then, you're in alpha brainwaves. That's when you're in a lighter state of meditation. Theta brainwaves, which is if you refer to my video below with mantra meditation, you go into theta brainwaves, and that's when you're the most suggestible and the most change happens. And then delta is when you are sleeping. So when I do these healings with my clients and we go inward, I take them into like an alpha brainwave state where you're more relaxed. So you're not blocking what needs to be seen. The first 8 to maybe 9 years of our lives, mostly the first 8 years, we are in alpha and theta brainwaves. So we are essentially sleeping. So you absorb all the energy of the household, you absorb the energy of everyone around you and everything you experience. So if you grow up in a house that has misogyny, double standard, chauvinism, hi, I did. There's nothing I'm going to name here that I didn't grow up with. And let me tell you, I had a lot of trauma. If I can heal, anyone in the world can heal. I promise you, if I can heal, you can heal too. If you grew up in a household that went around repeatedly exuding an energy of money is the cause of all evil, money is the root of all evil, only evil people have money, or money doesn't grow on trees, it's just hard, or food was, restricted, or you were punished through food. Those are all different energies that we take on. So, because you're in alpha and theta brainwaves, you absorb that all. We then hold on to it on a cellular level. Our body keeps the score. I did not make that up. That's a book. You can you can read it. Um, so because I've done the majority of the work for you, I've been doing this for over a decade. I have read, studied, and actually walked the walk, talked the talk, and gone in depth and detail, step by step, with the teachings of all the greatest spiritual healers and teachers. So I've studied Dr. Joe Dispenza for many, many, many years, Dr. David Hawkins, Michael Singer, Rhonda Byrne, Eckhart Tolle, um, Dr. Deepak Chopra, Dr. Kim Duramo. Those are just to name a few of some of my favorites. Bottom line, and also Gabrielle Bernstein, I love her too. They all have the same message with this, and they just say it in different ways. So Dr. Joe Dispenza called it sitting in the fire. Michael Singer wrote an entire book on this, The Surrender Experiment, and Rhonda Byrne calls it the welcoming technique, and Eckhart Tolle will call it coming into the present moment, the power of now. It's a transmutation of energy. No matter how you toss it or look at it, it's the same message over and over because it works. Gabrielle Bernstein, befriending it. And what is it? It's the trauma, it's the fear, it's the doubt, it's the stress, it's the worries, it's our anxiety, it is our lack, our scarcity, our unworthiness. All of it, all encompassing, is within. So what happens is when we get triggered, it's a visceral response. Your heart will beat. You might even get a dry mouth. I've had it where, my body shakes. I went through a horrendous divorce. It's visceral. It's real. It's counterintuitive to go into it and to welcome it, but that's what I'm asking you to do here today and in working with Healing with Hannah. This is not easy. No one, Mozart didn't just get on the piano and start playing. It's practice, and practice does not make perfect because we're not looking for perfect. Practice makes permanence. So, this is the number one thing I do with my clients is number one is holding space for them when we go in and feel it and we clear it, and I'm doing the majority of the work for them. And then the second one, and I'll link the video below, it is a vision with an elevated emotion and creating your future self. Both equally important. Remember, energy cannot be created or destroyed, it can only be transformed. So, in 3 of my steps, you're filling up, which is the meditation, gratitude, and visualization. This is the one step where you're emptying out. Quite literally, it leaves you. You heal on a cellular level. You transmute the energy. You recalibrate your autonomic nervous system. That frees up space within you. That trauma leaves. And then you want to fill that with something else. And that's where the visualization, the gratitude, the meditation comes into play. I've had clients who come to me that say, "Oh my gosh, I've been in, EMDR therapy for 7 months and I got more depressed," and I'm not knocking EMDR therapy because it's incredible and it transforms lives. And in a sense, that's what we are doing here. It's a form of systematic desensitization. You are facing your fears, releasing inhibitions. It is exposure therapy, whatever you want to call it, but it's going inward and welcoming what that anxiety has to say. So I'm going to do a mini session right now, very short and brief. Basically, for this, we go into lighter states, into different brainwaves. We close our eyes. I usually have my clients put their hand on their heart because where your attention goes, energy flows. So usually if you put your hand on your heart, you'll be drawn to that area, but you don't have to. I've even done this technique in a waiting room when I was about to get labs at a doctor's office and I felt very anxious. I didn't put my hand on my heart at that time. You just close your eyes and you begin to focus on the gentle rising and falling of your chest and the beating of your heart. You follow your breath up the nostrils, into the heart, and then up the nostrils and into your belly, going deeper and deeper and deeper within yourself, connecting to your heart center, connecting to the belly, even the lower belly. You start to put your attention and your observation on that area. This is what Dr. David Hawkins in the book Letting Go, step by step, what he taught. So you start to just relax into it. You relax your entire body. This is a modified, faster version of the longer one I do in one-on-ones. Go into it and you begin to feel yourself relax. And now you go into that feeling. And we welcome it. We dialect with it. What is this anxiety here to show me? What is this debilitating fear here to tell me, to teach me? And what this is, it's your inner child. We breathe into it. We welcome it. We give it love. I love you. By putting your attention and your observation on it, it literally changes the energy. And it's scientifically proven. They've actually measured it that what we observe, where our attention goes, energy flows. When you put your attention on something, we transmute the energy. It's scientifically proven and measured that it changes in the field. And I don't know if you've ever seen the science projects online. If not, Google it, where they've observed rice. They put 3 different rice in 3 different glass containers or flowers. They both have the same reaction. You just observe them. They're never touched. One of them is given love. One of them is just observed. One of them is given hate. And it changes the molecules faster. So the rice molds faster. The red roses die faster when they're given hate. But in observing them, they actually measure that the energy coming off of the flowers in the field that you cannot see changes. So at the same time, you recalibrate your autonomic nervous system. So when you're observing that anxiety, that situation, that scenario, that experience, whatever it is, a trauma, whether it's oppressed or suppressed, whether you have a memory or there's even no memory of it, you just know when you see water, you get triggered. When you hear a male voice, when, I don't know, your teacher raises his voice just a little bit, or a professor or your boss, you have a visceral response that's disproportional to what's happening. Then you know you have a trauma there. So what happens is, when that same scenario happens and you breathe into it and you welcome it, you start to go into parasympathetic nervous system instead of sympathetic. So you're less traumatized. We've all heard the saying, "Ooh, that hit a nerve." What happens is you stop hitting that nerve as much. And I heard Adam Grant. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Adam Grant. He's a organizational psychologist. I love him. I'm a huge follower of him. He says that when he started making videos and posting and doing podcasts, he was petrified and terrified, and he kept going. He did it afraid, he did it scared, he did it tired, and at some point, the anxiety subsides. It just does. You just are less triggered, and that's what this does. It is the fast track to turning down the volume on that trigger. And I've had clients say, "Oh my gosh, but it's so uncomfortable, or it hurts." And I say, "Well, let's weigh it out. What hurts more, your daily life of avoiding this, or just welcoming it, observing it, feeling it, and breathing into it?" Especially when you have me healing with Hannah, doing one on ones, transmuting it for you, taking you inward, and speeding up the healing process. Go within or go without. On the other side of all those fears and doubts and worries is your freedom. I promise you. There is a liberation of energy, and there is relief and freedom.